What is going on, my super sandwiches? Rhymestyle here, and today I'm joined by Geekdom once again for another Dragon Ball Z discussion. And today we're going to be doing something slightly different. This is kind of a question or request that we have from the whole community, you guys, and that is you guys should all read the manga and watch the Dragon Ball Z, the Japanese version of Dragon Ball Z as well. And it's like, wait a minute, Rhymestyle, why are you telling us to do that? Well, there's actually many reasons. For starters, in case you didn't know, Dragon Ball Z as a series has a lot of filler, and to kind of define what filler is, it's filler. It's extra content that was added that's not actually canon to the story. A lot of this stuff consists of, for example, like Pikkon is actually not a canon character, which shocked me originally too when I found that out. Or stuff like when Goku said that instant transmission is moving the speed of light, whereas in the manga, the actual translation is it's instant. So because of that, you know, if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, it's highly recommend that you guys check out the manga as well as the Japanese version, because the Japanese version actually has a lot of translations that were very different when it got dubbed. That's why I have Geekdom here to kind of break that down. So actually, let's start with that since everybody kind of watched the anime first. Geekdom, why should people watch the Japanese version of Dragon Ball Z as well?
Well, I've been preaching the good word here for a while. Real quick, as far as the instant transmission line, no, in the Japanese dub, it is what they say is in the dub, in the English dub, Vegeta says it's just super speed. That's actually false. It's instant. That's what is basically hammered down, is that it's instant. Instantaneous movement. Why they call it instant transmission, I don't know. But I've been preaching this for a while, and I'm just going to say this before we go any further, okay? This is not anything that is any way going to, my message here is not to insult people who grew up on the dub, because I watched the dub, nor is it to disrespect or demean the work of Sean Schemmel, Chris Sabat, Bruce Faulconer. My main issue with the original 1990s Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball and GT dubs is the majority of my problems is the incredible amount of script changes. The integrity of the story of Dragon Ball based upon the manga, and you should also read the manga as well, is the incredible amount of script changes. There's entire conversations that were changed. There's lines that were put in there that were...
Can I just toss out the one from Frieza? When Frieza said, hey, your shoes untied, and then Goku was like, I don't even have shoelaces. Stuff like that didn't actually happen in the Japanese version.
There's tons of them. I mean, there's a line, there's a few dub lines that I find hilarious. Like in the Ocean dub, Raccoon says, "My name is Raccoon, it rhymes with doom, and you'll be hurting all too soon." I love that line. Because it's funny, but in the Japanese one, he just says, get ready to take a pounding or something like that. The point is this, that my problem with Dragon Ball, the original dub, is that the story goes that the guy in charge of Funimation at the time, whose name was Barry Watson, Gen Fukunaga was the CEO, but Barry Watson was the producer. They decided to change the series and kind of make it more kid-friendly, and as a result, they lost a big amount of the original tones and the original themes in the original dub. Now, with Kai did fix a lot of it. However, there's a lot of inconsistencies in Kai, especially with some of the names. But my message to the community is, if you like Faulconer and you like the English voices, that you just can't stand Masako Nozawa, okay, I promise you, if you watch it in Japanese, you'll get used to it, and you will. After a while, it's just going to be like second nature. And then B, this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the script, and the script was very, very much changed. I've preached about this many, many times for months. I do highly recommend, if you consider yourself a fan of Dragon Ball, the next time that you watch the series, watch it in Japanese. And also, like Dino said, definitely check out the manga. That way you can easily differentiate what is and isn't part of Toriyama's original vision. And of course, there's things in the anime that are better than the manga. Like, I think the fights, even though some of them can be drawn out, I think that they're a little bit better in the anime. But I still think the manga, it's like the Bible of Dragon Ball. It's like the original source. Everything comes from it. So
what I was going to say is, before I talk about the manga, there actually is no wrong way to be a Dragon Ball fan, and that's what me and Geekdom were just talking about before we started recording. It's like either you grew up on the manga or you grew up on the games. Maybe you grew up on the dub, which most of you guys probably grew up on the dub. Whatever way you grew up watching Dragon Ball isn't the wrong way. Whatever way you're consuming Dragon Ball today isn't the wrong way. You might like GT. Some people might hate GT. Some people love the movies. Some people hate the movies. Whatever way you do Dragon Ball, you live Dragon Ball, isn't the wrong way. End of the day, as a Dragon Ball fan, we're still all one group of people who enjoy the same thing. We just enjoy it differently. And because of that, there's a lot of passionate people that can get into arguments and debates over what's right, what's wrong. But at the end of the day, there's no wrong way to be a Dragon Ball fan. So that's something I want to toss out there for now. But what I was going to say is, you know, based on what what Geekman said about the Japanese version of Dragon Ball Z, same thing with the manga. The manga is essentially what he said. Bible was probably the best way to explain it. It's the Bible. This is actually what happened. This is Toriyama's story that he drew up, that he wrote, many decades ago, and this is what was turned into the anime. Now, the interesting is if you go back to not just Dragon Ball Z, but also Dragon Ball as well. If you go back through Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z in the manga format, you'll notice how much stuff is actually changed, what's different, and then from there you'll realize, wow, like I never knew this. Like, with me, I toasted myself actually just started rereading the manga this past day, a couple days ago actually now, because this video was recorded a couple days ago. We started rereading the manga, and it's just a cool way to just go back and just relive the experience again and seeing like what changed was differently, So it's just kind of like we encourage everybody to experience the best of all worlds of Dragon Ball, whether it's just the anime, the manga, or the games. Live it if you wanna. If not, it is what it is. It's not wrong. If you don't want to do it, you're not wrong. We're just kind of suggesting that you should try this out if you want to see, other, I guess, windows and perspectives of it. So,
yeah, and I don't think that you're wrong either. Here's the thing, Dino. There's a reputation that I've gotten in this community from certain people who think that I hate the dub. I don't hate the dub. I hate the script changes. I have no problem with the dub itself. I mean, there's small things like, obviously, one thing people don't know is that when Funimation took over, when Sabit and Schemmel took over, they were brand new at this. Linda Young, they were all new. They didn't really know what they were doing. And if you don't believe me, there's interviews out there from them themselves. Not to mention that they didn't even have scripts from Toei. Again, you can only work with what you're given. Now, I've made several comments in the past about how that's kind of not really a great excuse. Even though they never got the scripts from Toei, there were plenty of places you can find information, because when that show was airing on television, I was a 13-year-old kid. I knew more about the series than they did, and I'm being dead serious. They had no scripts, but there was websites and fan sites that had it. But of course, if you're running a corporation, I can understand why they wouldn't want to go, with the fan sites. Plus, Barry Watson's vision of Dragon Ball was, in my opinion, Dino, very, very insulting, because he wanted to take this show, and it wasn't just him, it was also Saban Entertainment. They wanted to make it much more kidified, much more kid-friendly, and I feel that the integrity of the story was lost. Yeah, and not to mention...
I'm glad you said that, too, because we can talk about Kai as well in a couple seconds.
Yeah, just to wrap up the Z story, I'm probably going to do a more in-depth discussion on this some other time in the future, but... pretty much what it was is that they wanted, I don't like this, but there was this opinion in the 90s, and we're all kind of 80s and 90s babies, that they felt that the American Dragon Ball fans could not digest Dragon Ball in its original version. Now, most of us, you, me, a lot of the people watching, have grown up. Now that we're grown up, it's not even a problem anymore. But I'll be honest with you, when we were kids, there were shows like X-Men and Batman that were very, very mature themed. It wasn't like porn or anything, but they were adult, kind of respectful content. They have changed the script so badly in some instances that Dragon Ball kind of became a clown show. Now, this was fixed in Kai, the dub, and it was fixed in the Dragon Ball Z redub, which was done a little bit later on, but that's a different story I'm not going to get into. But the point is that Barry Watson's vision was to have it like, we can't have the Japanese music because the kids, they don't like it. We got to have this Bruce Faulconer. They hired Bruce Faulconer to play music at all times. Now, nothing against the Faulconer score, but if you watch Black and Fist's interview with Bruce Faulconer, Faulconer himself says, I was told to have music playing at all times. That's not what I wanted to do. I was told it. And his idea, and this is very disrespectful to children if you ask me, and this is a very corporate America thing. I'm not going to get into the politics, but it's corporate America. They think that American kids have ADD and it has to be music blasting at all times. And to me, a lot of the emotion was kind of lost in that, but that's a whole different story. It's just another reason to at least try the Japanese version. It's the true version of the series. It's the original version. It is a Japanese show. I hate to break it to you guys. It's not an American-made product. And I do like some aspects of the dub. I do not hate the dub, but the script changes. You just have to see it. And also just, the whole presentation is just, it has a different atmosphere. Now, as far as the manga goes, before we go any further, I just want to say one quick thing. The Viz translation is about 80% accurate. There are some changes you got to watch out for, especially in the Buu saga. For example, Vegerat. He's called Vegerat in the manga. Certain people who I'm not going to name actually believe that Vegerat is an accurate translation. No, it's not. Vegito is his name. Why is he called Vegito? Because in the original version, his Goku's Saiyan name is not, or Saiyan is not Kakarot. It's Kakaroto. So Vegito is Vegeta and Kakaroto, Vegito. But when Viz translated it, because they already did Kakarot, they just said Vegerat. Bad translation.
Yep.
You know, things like that. And also Majin Buu is called Jinbu. I'm not really sure why that is, but I'm not going to get... There's a whole other video that I can do about that. The point is that it is the true way to watch it, and you should give it a shot, especially now, because now that Super's out, you kind of know, you're kind of getting more familiar with the voices, and it is the true version to watch the show.
It's not that bad, trust me.
It's not bad at all, if you ask me. It's the best.
What we were also talking about is what you probably grew up under is what imprinted on you. For example, with me, I grew up watching the English dub first on Funimation. It was the Ocean dub, actually. That was the first time I experienced Dragon Ball. And when I switched to Japanese the first time, I thought this was kind of weird. And it took me quite a bit to get used to it, but not that long. And once I watched enough of it, I was like, okay, this is cool. Because I know a lot of people who like the English dub aren't really necessarily fans of the Japanese voice for Goku. But it's not that bad, trust me. Like, the more you watch it, the more you get used to it, then you'll start enjoying it. So.
And not just that, I don't mean to interrupt you, but not just that, but you actually also might actually end up liking it.
Yeah.
Because Nozawa, when she hits those screams, she can't even hit those screams anymore because she's an older lady. She's fantastic. But again, she was chosen by Toriyama, handpicked.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where...
I remember when I saw the premiere in April in LA, they were there, and I remember she was telling a story. She was like, "That's my Goku right there. That's my Goku." That's what she said.
Yeah, I don't want, yeah, she's a legend. And the thing is, all I'm trying to say is this: the Japanese version is the original true version of the series, and a lot of people always ask me. I've gotten this on my Ask FM, and I'm very, very humbled when people say, "Oh, well, you're very knowledgeable." And part of the reason for that is because I've watched it in Japanese, because there's literally very, very, very numerous changes to the script and numerous things that were left out or added in that people need to be aware of. At the very least, watch one episode in English with the Japanese subs on, and you'll be surprised at how many differences there are.
I actually did that with Yu Yu Hakusho this past week. I was watching the English dub with the Japanese subtitles, and I was surprised how much was different. I mean, for the most part, the message was kind of the same, but everything was being said differently. So, not just Dragon Ball, try with other animes as well. Just, do what he said. Watch it in English with the Japanese subtitles in case you don't want to watch the Japanese version, and you'll learn a lot from it. And also with Kai, I know a lot of people who grew up watching Dragon Ball Z originally aren't that big of fans of Kai. Kai isn't that bad. Kai's actually more true to the story than Dragon Ball Z was in a way.
They took out most of the filler.
Yep.
And I know that there's varying opinions on filler. There's good filler, there's bad filler. Actually, there is a episode of Thought for Talk. I don't mean to promote anything on your channel, but Quaman and Black Fist, they're our friends. They got a Thought for Talk coming up with me and Mr. Fusion where we talk about the good and bad side of filler. And for those who don't know, the reason why filler even exists, you mentioned a little bit of this earlier, is because the anime and the manga were running at the same time, and there was a time when the anime almost caught up to the manga. So what they did was, to give Toriyama more time to write more manga, they created the Garlic Jr. saga. They created the Otherworld tournament. They created all this extra stuff. That's why it's there. No different, I've said it before, than Game of Thrones or Walking Dead. Walking Dead, the comic, starts out similar to the series, and then it diverts because Robert Kirkland is ahead of them, but the series is catching up. And then, the big problem with Game of Thrones now is that George Martin, we don't even know when that book's coming out. So pretty soon we might get our own like Garlic Jr. Game of Thrones situation going on here. Except or even worse, Naruto. Naruto's the big one. 180 episodes of filler, bro, and that's why.
The thing about Naruto is, and no disrespect to Naruto, I love Naruto. The manga's done, and they're still doing filler right now. That's why I stopped watching the show. Once this show is done, I'm going to finish it up. But
is it because it's a cash grab, do you think?
It's a cash grab, yeah. I mean, you have to figure out what else to do now while the series is done. But the manga finished last September, and now it is actually a year later. A year later, and they started freaking filler again.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand at the same time, but at the same time, it's like, some of our favorite series are getting ruined because of filler. But again, that's a whole other video. For now, we just want to encourage everybody to check out the manga and the Japanese version of Dragon Ball Z as well. If you want to learn more from it, if you want to see what's different, that way when people talk about XYZ, you're like, oh, okay, instead of, oh, no, that's wrong. And again, there's no wrong way to be a fan. Again, you can only watch like the games, you can only watch the show, you can only read the manga. Whatever way you consume Dragon Ball Z is not the wrong way. But just be aware that there's other perspectives as well. There's other worlds of it, and if you want to explore all of it, if you want to be, if you want to learn more, then check out the other medias as well. So.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, and there's a thing that people do have to accept is that. Some people have had problems accepting this, is that the original Funimation dub does have a lot of problems. People have come down on me for pronouncing the word Saiyan, and Saiyan is the correct way to say it. I have a whole video about it, or Saiyajin, it's up to you. And it's kind of weird, though, that Majin for Boo is is a creature, basically demon man.
Genie. It's demon genie, isn't it?
No,
that's what Jin is.
Yes, that's actually not the case. Jin, DJINN is demon genie, but the way the Japanese pronounce it is Ma-Jin. It's like Saiyajin, Majin, and Ma means demon and Jin means people of, so it's people of demon, people of Saya. So that's that's because of Viz. Viz changed his name to Jinbu, and that's not correct. But it's weird how when Funimation did the Boo Saga, they called him Majin and they didn't say Saiyajin. But again, it's not really a big deal. The point I'm trying to make is people have come down on me for saying Saiyan, even though it is the correct way. Yep. Funimation has been wrong. Saiyan, and there's nothing wrong with calling it Saiyan. Nothing wrong with it. But it's been wrong for 20-something years, and again, it's not all their fault. They didn't get the scripts. They did not have a supervisor who was familiar with the series. It's not as bad as Dragon Ball Evolution, where they totally diverted. But you know what I mean? If you're going to do Dragon Ball, you got to have somebody working there who's really familiar. Thankfully, Funimation, Chris Sabat now is a huge fan. Kyle Haber, also they have Steve Simmons working for them. It's a lot different company than it was back then. Yep. I just want to make that clear to everybody. I'm sorry I'm rambling, but that's the
other thing I want to kind of toss out there as well, just because I was thinking about it, because I was like looking at my Arlia Vegeta up there. Even the whole black hair thing. Yeah. Like every pure blood Saiyan is supposed to have black hair, but if you guys remember in the anime, they introduced King Vegeta with brownish hair. And I remember there was a note that Toriyama wrote, and he was just like, all Saiyans are supposed to have black hair. But when they made the anime version of it, they didn't do that. You saw many different hair colors with Saiyans. Specifically, the most famous one is King Vegeta. And then on top of that, the first time they showed Vegeta when he was playing Arlia, he had the brownish hair.
Well, it was before Planet Arlia. It was when they had first had that conversation with Nappa, and that conversation was also kind of a little bit different in the dub, because in the Japanese version, the original purpose of Vegeta and Nappa getting the Dragon Balls is so that they could fight forever. And I don't remember exactly what was said in the dub, but I remember they kind of left that out, or they didn't emphasize it enough. I don't really remember, because there's actually like 3 or 4 different dubs of that episode, because there's an Ocean dub, Funimation redub, Kai dub, whatever. The point is that the thing with the red hair is that they actually screwed up. Toriyama saw the episode on television. He saw that they had red hair, wrote them a note saying, hey guys, it's supposed to be black hair. Oh, well, how can we tell? Your manga's in black and white. Well, just fix it. And that's why when they got to Earth, Vegeta all of a sudden had black hair. But that's more on Toei than on Toriyama. That would be a topic for another video. But the point is, all I'm going to wrap this up, I know we're rambling here, I'm rambling, not you, is it is worth a try. You'd be surprised. You really watch it. It really is like a different show. It really is in some ways.
And the manga is very enjoyable. Like I saw Tosi tweeting about it the other day, but like Oolong, for example, always breaks the fourth wall, and I thought that was hilarious.
They do that.
The comedy aspect of it is awesome. So just experience both worlds, and then you'll probably look at Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z a different way.
Yeah, and plus in the manga, you're right, the breaking the fourth wall is more frequent. Also, Toribot is there sometimes explaining things. That's obviously not in the anime, even though it would have been cool to see it. But yeah, and like I said, when you read the manga, you can go to any bookstore and get it. They have the 3-in-1s out. You can also get the Viz Big, which are better paper quality. And Viz did announce the full color for Z. So definitely check that out. I also feel like another thing too, if you don't mind me saying this, if you haven't seen Dragon Ball and only seen Z, you need to go back and watch it. You just need to, because I know that they're not super powered like they are in Z, but they are very strong, and there's a much more of a martial arts strategic-based combat system in Dragon Ball. So much fun to watch. Plus, I feel the development in Dragon Ball for the characters is way better. Yamcha and Ten Shin Han are like jokes in Z, but in Dragon Ball they had a purpose. So you really
I loved that fight in Dragon Ball.
Which
in the
one?
tournament. I love that fight.
But which one? Goku or Yamcha and Ten?
Yamcha and Tien.
When he breaks his leg?
Yep.
And you hear it cracking.
Yep.
It's so brutal.
Yeah.
I love this show. But yeah, and then I was also going to say, just real quick, as you were talking about before we went on the air, if you want to watch it in Japanese, right now, if you go to your local stores or whatever, the Dragon boxes are way too expensive. They're out of print. That's the best way to watch it. You can't do it. The second best way to watch it is to get the level sets. Those are also out of print. I hate it. Fans are screwed here. So the third best way to watch Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z would be to get the Blu-rays. They're not the best quality. Actually, it's weird. The Dragon boxes are better quality, and you can fight that with me all you want to, but they are. Put them next to each other on television, even though they're DVDs. But if you're going to go out and watch the series, the Blu-rays are available officially. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Funimation.com has that. Don't they have like a Netflix thing going?
Yeah, they have the streaming service.
Yeah, they're all on there, right? So that's
it's all up there as well. You can watch it in Japanese.
Million ways to freaking watch this show. There's no excuse at this point. Watch Dragon Ball. Enjoy it. Enjoy the poop humor at first. Enjoy the badass fights, the strategy. I'm just loving the talk. I like talking about this, bro. Sorry if I'm making this video long.
This originally we planned this video to be like 10 minutes long, but you can just see like our excitement. So check it out. Trust us. Just trust us on this.
I could talk about this all day because, dude, there's so many like awesome themes of the show that just got lost in the dub. And again, understand, it's not all Funimation's fault. Some of the changes were questionable, but some of them were just they didn't know what to do and they had to scramble. That's it.
Yep. With that said, if you do end up jumping into that world, or if you already have, let us know your overall thoughts in the comment section below. If you've already experienced all the worlds, tell us. Let us know what you guys think, and then I guess just talk to us. We'll talk to everybody in the comments below. So just we'll see you guys down there. And of course, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, rating below, all that good stuff. Check out Geekdom in the description below because he has awesome content and all that good stuff. But other than that, that's pretty much everything for today, right?
That's it, man. Hopefully people will try it and don't just give up right away if you are turned off by Nozawa or whatever. Just you will get used to it. I assure you. Even I was kind of confused at first. Even Mike Labrie from Kanzenshu himself told me, well, I just accepted it, and that's it. That's his voice, and she's great. So just watch it.
And with the manga, I started rereading it about 3 days ago, and I'm already on chapter 200. So you breeze through it. You breeze through it.
It is a lot faster. It is, without question.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day, and we will see all you awesome Super Saiyans in the comment section below.